Hey there guys, welcome back to my playthrough of Devil May Cry 3. So we're on mission 6, and I took the time to play the later missions off camera just to prepare for the playthrough. So I'm definitely ready for them when they appear. But this mission only has one combat encounter, which is this. The enemies are perpetually in Devil Trigger mode, but it's not too bad. So long as you know how to keep them off camera. And you have to use the weapon swap trick when you're firing the pistol and the spiral. This is when you're blind firing. This is when you're not using R1 to aim. Because obviously when I aim, the camera shifts and it puts them on camera, which is dangerous. It's simple. So I'm going to take the time to go on some tangents. So a funny thing happened the other day. During my playthrough of Devil May Cry 3 off camera, I was on Mission 8, which is where you're inside the Leviathan, and I kept on smelling something burning. Initially, I thought someone was cooking food, and whenever I was checking other rooms, I didn't smell anything burning, so I dismissed it. However, while I was playing the later missions, I could still smell the burning occasionally. And then, I randomly decided to check the trophy list for the HD collection, and that's when I noticed my PS5 controller wasn't charging, so I looked at the part of the charger connected to the controller, and the temperature was incredibly hot. And also, when I bent the wire a bit, I saw sizzling occurring. So the burning smell was literally the charger for my controller overheating, probably because of a loose connection. I was fortunate that the charger didn't catch fire, but after noticing this, I had to throw the charger away. I'm now using the charger for my Xbox Series S controller, which I'm amazed is compatible with the PS5 controller. My PS5 controller is also compatible with my PC charger, so I definitely learned some new things in the process. So yeah, that was just a funny moment that occurred. Okay, so we're having more of these enemies show up. This isn't too bad. The white guys and the yellow guys are no problem. I think after this playthrough of Devil May Cry 3, I'll do a recording of the demo digest, which is basically the compilation of all the cutscenes in this game, just to get my reactions. I feel like I should do it with this game, because this game is just really goofy with its story. And I did take the time to look up the story a bit more, and it turns out Devil May Cry 3 had a manga that was released which serves as a prequel that takes place 1 year before the events of the game. And what's interesting is that certain characters that appear in the 2025 anime appear in this manga. So the White Rabbit actually shows up in this manga, and he also hired Dante for a job in order to see his capabilities. And in the manga, the White Rabbit is a possessed doll, but in the anime, the White Rabbit is a human with demonic blood. Enzo also appears in the manga, and he owns the Love Planet building you go to in Mission 3 of this game. Virgil had also revealed to Dante his plans of raising the Tema Negru. He even had Dante's amulet at one point because it was stolen by someone named Alice. Dante and Virgil also fought at the end of the manga over their amulet halves, with Virgil emerging victorious. That being said, he still gave Dante his half of the amulet back as a way of telling him that he could take back that half anytime he wanted, since the ritual to raise the Tema Negru wasn't ready yet. Dante also briefly unlocked his demonic power when he's dealing with a sealed demon that Virgil needed for the Tema Negru. I don't think his rebellion sword impaled him in the manga. That I'm not really sure about. So, based on the Wikipedia summary that I read, I'm not really sure how the events in this manga really aid the story of Devil May Cry 3. I didn't really glean any interesting details from the manga. That one's dead. Like I said, this is not a bad combat encounter. It's manageable, so long as you know what you're doing. You can activate the wheels in this area to disengage their devil trigger, but it's just so awkward trying to activate them because you have to repeatedly hit the wheels multiple times, and then they will also disengage after a certain amount of time, so then the enemies will regain their devil trigger, because both of the wheels have to be active. Oh, that was a mistake. So if you hold triangle next to these spikes, and this is also the case in the Love Planet area when you're near that pole, Dante will spin around and he will damage the enemies, but to do it you have to hold triangle, and at times when you do the animation, Dante will do the heavy attack with his rebellion sword, which is this, and he's locking onto the wrong thing, and it takes him so long to do the attack that you always end up missing because the enemies are so quick to get away. So it seems more reliable on downed enemies or something. Yeah, but even then, it just doesn't knock them over or damage them much because of the devil trigger. See, like, that I did not want to do. The game misinterprets your input when you're trying to do that spin move on the spike. And it's really obnoxious, and you can accidentally do the spin move when you're trying to attack enemies. There you go. Like I said, a manageable sequence. It's well designed. And then coming up are going to be two rooms. One is a puzzle room, the other is a dodge room. This one is actually quite interesting because you can use Real Guard to iframe through these spikes, and it can be reliable because sometimes the spikes move so fast you have no time to go from left to right or anything like that. Like, watch. See? That is really cool. That was poor timing on my part. This is a great way to build up charge on your Real Guard when you're using the iframes on your roll animation to put yourself in the trap. It's near the end of this trap corridor where it gets tricky because it can be hard at times to figure out when the spike stops so that you can move forward. I'm just gonna use Devil Trigger to get out of here. So I did take the time to upgrade Swordmaster to level 2, but haven't really found a lot of use for Swordmaster. And considering that you cannot use the other styles for animation canceling purposes, it lowers the incentive to use the other styles even more compared to Royal Guard. Like, Royal Guard is the more fun stance, I would say. And having the addition of a parry really helps in benefiting the pacing of the combat encounters. But this is where you would normally get the Artemis. It would just drop from this mechanism right here. But the Artemis is a pretty useless weapon. I haven't really found a use for it. Alright, so mission 7 is going to be your first boss fight against Virgil. You have to go down first because you need to get a power source. I'm not really sure why this warrants a barrier. I'm guessing they put that barrier in so that you don't miss this key item. But the way the Devil May Cry 3 manga serves as a prequel to Devil May Cry 3 is similar to how the Resident Evil Infinite Darkness comic served as a prequel to Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. I do have that comic, but I haven't read it yet. I should definitely do so if I have the time. But the way that comic works is different from how the novels of Resident Evil Degeneration, Damnation, and Vendetta work, since the novels are basically the same stories as the movies, only they have far more detail than the movies. This unfortunately does mess with the movies, as the movies neglect some lore points that can confuse the audience. For example, in Resident Evil Damnation's novel, it clarifies that Svetlana's synthetic dominant plagas had an engineered flaw with them, where they would eventually take over a host and turn them into a regular Majini. The movie never mentions this, so the audience ends up believing that the dominant plagas in general are just able to eventually take over the host, which is not true. I know I was fooled by the movie's lack of information, as I mistakenly mentioned this point in my first Resident Evil Village retrospective, which is something that I'm at least correcting in my remade retrospective. Also, in Resident Evil Vendetta's novel, Leon and Chris actually took the time to talk about the family from Resident Evil 6, and also how Leon was still being haunted by what he was forced to do with shooting Adam Benford when he became infected. I have no idea why the movie neglects this point, as it would have been a cool moment for Leon and Chris. How exactly do they decide which points from the novels to include in the movies? It's a bit confusing. I mean, this still doesn't change the fact that the animated Resident Evil movies are amazing, aside from Resident Evil Death Island, which is the weakest of the animated movies, and I'll definitely take the time to do retrospectives for the movies if it's possible. Oh, come on, I didn't want to do that. I hate when he does the million stabs at the end, because the input is really dumb, because you're trying to do the thrust attack, but you can also do the million stabs from the thrust attack, and so you end up accidentally doing it all the time. That's not what I wanted to do, game, every time with that million stab move. It's so dumb. So one thing that's particularly odd about the Devil May Cry series is how originally Devil May Cry 4 took place before Devil May Cry 2, but then when Devil May Cry 5 came out, the developers said that Devil May Cry 4 actually takes place after Devil May Cry 2. I know in the comic for Devil May Cry 5, Dante describes how he escaped from hell when he was trapped at the end of Devil May Cry 2, which indicates that Devil May Cry 5 takes place after Devil May Cry 2, but I'm not too sure what indicated originally that Devil May Cry 4 took place before Devil May Cry 2, before they changed it with the release of Devil May Cry 5. This enemy's fun to fight when it's by itself. And it's not getting caught on the geometry or anything. See? That is a lot of fun to fight. But when they have like 2 of those enemies, and then they have other annoying enemies as well, they become an absolute nuisance and really, really obnoxious. Like, there's an encounter later on where you fight that enemy while a bunch of soul leaders are accompanying it, and it is one of my least favorite encounters.
This may be fun. Come on, Nip. This may be fun. This may be fun.
That was close. His sword attacks have so much range, so he can easily catch you as you're trying to avoid them.
Come on, Whip. This may be fun.
No, you don't. That's when I should be punishing him. There's really no need to use Royal Guard here.
Come on, Whip. Now I'm a little motivated. This may get so cocky.
There we go. That's what I need him to do. I need him to block. Sometimes he will cancel into a dodge while he's blocking, and then the Phantom Swords will teleport as well. Those parts are really obnoxious with Virgil.
Come on, Whip. Now I'm a little motivated. Come on, Whip. Now I'm a little motivated. This may get so cocky. Come on, Whip. Now I'm a little motivated. This may be fun. Now don't get so cocky. Where's your motivation?
See, like, in those situations, you just cannot get away. I don't even know if Royal Guard is enough to save you from such situations.
Now I'm motivated. This may get so cocky.
And sometimes he does that. He extends that move in the final encounter with him.
Come on, Whip. This may be fun. This may be fun. Now don't get so cocky. Come on, Whip. Now I'm a little motivated. Now I'm a little motivated. Don't get so cocky.
Oh, God. I didn't... See, look at that. Look at that. 3 times he just dodges for no reason. He's right next to me. He has no reason to dodge, and yet he just does that. Like, he might as well just do that the entire time when his swords are up, and I'll never be able to hit him. Like, why does he need to do attacks? He might as well just do that. That's what I don't understand with the way his swords are designed. It's one of the stupidest parts to Virgil's encounter. And again, like, the methodology you have to adhere to with destroying those swords is so specific. Like with using Quicksilver and the Kalina on cancel method. So this is the level with the Leviathan. This part can be pretty annoying on Heaven and Hell mode because of the acid pools. Because in Heaven and Hell mode, you die instantly. And so you have to really watch out for the acid pools on the ground. Because it's so easy to step in them because you can hardly see them at times. There's a sequence coming up later on where everything is pitch black and you have those acid pools around. And you can't really fly in Devil Trigger mode. I mean, you can use Air Raid mode in this game when you have the Nevan. But I don't know if it's as effective as the Air Raid in Devil May Cry 1. See? Acid Pool right there. If I step in any one of these on Heaven and Hell mode, I will die instantly. And also the hitbox is kind of dishonest, because even when it looks like you're not going to step in the Acid Pool, you just take damage at times. It's like that with certain pools, because the hitbox is a bit dishonest. Also make sure you save plenty of Devil Trigger, because you need Devil Trigger to outrun the Gigapede that appears. The Gigapede appears twice in the sequence, and this is one of the sequences right here. Yeah. Being in double trigger mode is the only way to outrun this Gigapede. If it catches up to you, you have to use iframes in order to bypass its attacks. But the fight against the Leviathan is pretty interesting. I actually like it because it gives you the opportunity to use Royal Guard in a creative way where you get the Leviathan to do a specific laser attack that you can then parry in order to build up charge. So you roll into the lasers, then you initiate Royal Guard, and so you can get a lot of charge in the process, and it makes for a really engaging encounter. I currently have the Agni and Rudra equipped. Unfortunately, I don't have Swordmaster leveled up, where I have access to the Twister move that will be useful for Mission 19. Yeah, this thing is really fast. The Leviathan does have the ability to steal your Devil Trigger charges in order to do a specific move. That isn't so bad because you can negate the damage by using the ultimate on your Royal Guard. Alright, here we go. So only prioritize this one, because this is the one that will force the Leviathan to do the laser move once it's destroyed. So the Leviathan is not going to do the laser move immediately, it only does it the second time you destroy this thing. And don't worry about the enemies Devil Triggering, the Leviathan will kill them. Oh god, it's doing this move all of a sudden because I think I killed some enemies. See? I've already built up charge. I'm just going to use it right here, just to make this go by a bit faster. So situational awareness is the key aspect of this encounter. You just gotta watch the enemies, watch for any moments where the Leviathan will steal your charges for the Devil Trigger. I really should be charging my Devil Trigger explosion right now. There we go. Gotta wait for this thing to, there we go. That way I can lock onto it and it doesn't mess with the dodges then. Apparently I damaged the left organ somehow. Not really sure how that's possible, but okay. And once again, the ability to swap targets is definitely helpful. I don't know why they didn't introduce that feature in Devil May Cry 1. It's so funny because Devil May Cry 1 released in, I believe it was 2001, and yet 3 Resident Evil games, Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 OG, they have the ability to swap between targets while aiming, yet Devil May Cry 1 didn't have that. How is that possible? Also, one thing I did notice about Devil May Cry 3 compared to Devil May Cry 4, you notice how I'm moving? Well, if I press L3 right now to swap between the targets, it actually works, but it doesn't work as effectively in Devil May Cry 4 for some reason. When you're moving and you're trying to swap targets, Nero just refuses to swap targets for some weird reason. Ooh, that was really bad. I knew I was going to get caught right there, but luckily, Royal Guard saved me. Yeah, so it's a very quick encounter, so long as you're prepping your Devil Trigger explosion and using your Royal Guard. So whenever the Leviathan... Yeah, actually I've already mentioned that. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun to use a Royal Guard against those lasers, and the input was kind of screwing me because it was misinterpreting my input for the left thumbstick. I only got an A rank because I didn't pick up enough orbs. So stupid. Whatever. I don't care about rank in this game. I just want to get through the game in an efficient manner. So mission 9 is the boss fight against Nevan. Nevan isn't so bad. She's well designed, and you can speed up the encounter by being very aggressive on her, and also these enemies are so annoying. I have no idea what the best way to deal with these enemies is, and the combat really falls apart with them because they push each other around, and then their hitboxes on certain moves like this, like the hitbox on that jumping attack is really bad, because at times it doesn't hit you for some reason, or it just hits you a bit later than usual, and it messes with the timing on your Royal Guard. See, like, they get displaced. Like, that guy shifted a bit to the left, and so my Royal Guard didn't detect properly, despite the fact that my timing was the same as the previous time I deflected him. But this first encounter isn't so bad. But with the spider encounter after Nevan's boss fight, that one is annoying, because you have these spiders, and then you have the bigger spiders, and it's just a mess because they constantly push each other around, they have really weird hitboxes on their attacks, they grab you, they don't really have the best opportunity to build up Devil Gauge. It's just really messy. The combat really falls apart with them. I mean, I don't really know the best way to deal with them. I heard they're vulnerable to fire and that Agni and Rudra are the best weapons to use against them, but I didn't notice much of a difference, honestly. So these traps right here are another good opportunity to build up charge by rolling into them. And see, when I do the Royal Guard, it actually disables my hitbox for a bit so that the trap doesn't immediately hit me. So this is intentional, which is really good. I can therefore do that, just get rid of him instantly. Just gotta be careful of the moments where Dante turns towards the thing he deflected, because then you have to turn like this and hold R1 because you can only roll while aiming. You know, it is funny that this game has that specific input for evading where you have to be aiming in order to evade, because Resident Evil 6 has the same thing, only it makes more sense in Resident Evil 6 because it's an over-the-shoulder game, not a fixed camera-based game, or whatever that you call this particular camera perspective. Did he block that? No, he didn't. They can block your Royal Guard when they're guarding. You can't use Royal Guard to bypass their guard. Huh, that wasn't so bad. That is pretty fun. I love doing these kinds of creative things in Devil May Cry 3. It's yet again another reason why Royal Guard is the most interesting style in the game, because there's a lot of fun things you can do with it, and it's really good as a damage dealer. So Nevan is coming up, and Nevan is simple. She works pretty well, but like I said, you can be more aggressive on her and speed up the encounter significantly. Alright, here goes. Oh god. Yeah, that was a mistake. What the hell are you doing? Why are you doing the million stab, you idiot? So stupid. She'll be on the other side. Oh, she's doing this now, so she'll electrify the floor. You can Royal Guard that, but I always get the timing wrong, even when I roll. What is she saying? God, she's so weird. Oh, come on! I should have initiated the explosion right there. Oh god. on. Oh. Yeah, this is really fun when you're doing it aggressively. Yes! What fun! That is a really great boss fight. It works well normally too, it just takes a bit longer. That fight really rewards aggression, and it's nice. But this mission is very annoying because of the spider room coming up. Like, you thought the previous spider rooms were fine? This one is worse. Like, I just cannot get any kind of strategy for the spider room coming up where it doesn't feel like the game's mechanics are failing me, or that the enemies aren't doing weird things, with pushing each other around and messing with my ability to deflect them. This is it. This is the room I dread. It is so obnoxious, because these spiders have so much HP and they push each other around and mess with the hit detection on their moves. Oops! God dang it. That was really close. Oh, really? Another one? Oh, he's gonna try to web me. That was close. Oh god. God dang it! Ah. Really? Oh my god.
Come on, man.
Gotta make sure I'm actively attacking in case these spiders get on me, or just go into devil trigger mode. Come on. These little spiders... Oh, get off me! And I had to waste my devil trigger. Damn it. You can't kill the little spiders until the big spiders are gone. Dante will just not prioritize them with his pistols. They seem to consistently stun whenever you hit them before they do certain attacks. That one's dead. This one spider's not going to be a problem. Just get him over here. And that one didn't flinch for some reason. Considering that is such a damaging charge attack, I'm amazed you don't get more charge out of your Royal Guard. That should give way more charge when you deflect it. Like, that is one of the most damaging moves in the game, and it restores what feels like a third of a circle. Oh my god, leave me alone, you stupid spiders. See, like, that's the same timing I've been doing the entire time, but because they get displaced or, like, they're moving slightly to the left or right when they jump backwards or other things, I don't know what's causing this displacement, it affects the timing on the Royal Guard. So you end up taking damage when your timing is perfect because they get shifted ever so slightly to the left or right, which affects their hitbox. Yeah, these big spiders have so much life. If someone has any good advice on how to deal with them, please leave a comment, because I really have no idea what the best way to handle them is.